Welcome back to Crawford-Clark Close-Up. In memory of the late great Leslie Nielsen and the fact that the consistently hilarious Naked Gun series of films is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, we're taking a trip down memory lane over all three films in the trilogy. Off the back of the early 80s US comedy series Police Squad, the decision was made to take the best moments originally conceived in that series, which also starred Leslie Nielsen, and pop them into a feature film. So was born The Naked Gun from the files of Police Squad. The first film boasted a great cast, including Priscilla Presley as love interest Jane, O.J. Simpson, before his infamy, as Lieutenant Nordberg, George Kennedy as Ed, and of course Leslie Nielsen as the hopeless lead, Frank Drebin. All three eventual films in the Naked Gun trilogy are straightforward stories, but they're all hilariously funny in their own way. The first film opens with Lieutenant Drebin undercover in Beirut as a T-man serving a group of world terrorist leaders plotting a new terrorist attack before Drebin lifts his disguise. It's a perfectly entertaining introduction that sets the bumbling hero of the story up very well, and it only gets better from there. The films are so quotable, from Nielsen's Drebin attempting to encourage a hospitalised Nordberg's worried wife that not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until the people responsible are behind bars, before telling colleague Ed that they're going to get a bite to eat, or Ed explaining to Frank that Nordberg has a 50-50 chance of living, though there's only a 10% chance of that. Every joke is performed in such a deadpan manner that makes them land so successfully. The best observational gag, though, is still Frank commenting on Jane's stuffed beaver. The screenwriting is fantastic, with a gag a minute in the vein of parody films like Airplane, and the similarity is no coincidence. Director David Zucker was a co-director on Airplane in 1980, and he returns to direct the first Naked Gun installment. The dialogue sparkles throughout, with Nielsen generating laughter left, right and centre, not just through the words on the page, but through his wonderful mannerisms and general buffoonery in his interaction with others. Composer Ira Newborn gave audiences a kooky, playful main theme for the films over wacky main title sequences that got considerably more bonkers over the three films, and for the first time in your life you'll want to stay for the funny end credits of each film with their clever in-jokes. After the success of the first film, the sequel Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear, landed in 1991, and despite having a number of hilarious moments, failed to hit the same heights of its predecessor, and ended up recycling a lot of the same jokes. Richard Griffiths is a welcome addition to the cast this time around, and the ghost parody with Frank and Jane at the pottery wheel is a standout in a fairly disappointing sequel. 1994 was a fantastic year at the cinema, with many classic films now ripe for parody, and whilst some may feel that the Naked Gun films were getting too tired for their own good, the Naked Gun 33 1/3, The Final Insult, may just well be the most consistently entertaining of the three. No stone is left unturned, as everything from Thelma and Louise to The Shawshank Redemption get the parody treatment, with the action culminating in a brilliantly conceived Oscars night parody, with Frank trying to thwart the plans of Rocco Dillon to set off a bomb at the Academy Awards. Some of the best dialogue of the trilogy flies in this film, particularly highlights coming from Frank, straight-faced to the camera, explaining that, like a midget in a urinal, I was going to have to stay on my toes, as well as, like a blind man in an orgy, I was going to have to feel things out. It proves that there was still life in the comedy yet. The correct decision was made, actually, to leave The Naked Gun at that, and it was unfortunate that the brilliant Nielsen never got to star in anything as funny again after these films before his passing. 2018 marks the 30th anniversary since the beginning of one of the funniest comedy trilogies of all time. So let's raise a glass to the late comedy great Leslie Nielsen and some brilliantly entertaining observational comedy. From Crawford-Clark Close-Up.
Alrighty then.
So, what are your thoughts on the Naked Gun series of films? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and please subscribe to Crawford-Clark Close-Up if you enjoyed this review. Coming up next, we've got another anniversary to celebrate. It's 10 years since we first saw the awkward antics of Will, Jay, Neil and Simon as the In-Betweeners. Join us in the next couple of videos as we explore the best moments of the three series of the show, as well as look back over both feature films. Until then, thanks for watching and that's a wrap.